Okay, dear students, from the last class, we are discussing about the solid state chapter. The crystal defects we are discussed in the last class, dear students. Now, in the today's class, we'll discuss about that electrical properties and magnetic properties of crystalline solids or solids. Let's see that electrical properties. So, based on the electrical properties, the solids are divided into three types. One is insulators, second one is conductors, the third one is semiconductors. Okay, so based on the electrical properties of solids, the solids are divided into three types: insulators, conductors, and semiconductors. What are the insulators? Insulator means the solids which are very low conductivity, the solids which are having very low conductivity, and conductivity range is in between the 10 to the power of minus 20 to 10 to the power of minus 10 ohm inverse meter inverse. See, 10 to the power of minus 20 means very less. So the conductivity range is very less. Such type of solids are called as insulators. So this definition we also, this insulators definition we also can be defined as according to band theory. According to band theory, what is the definition for insulators? Insulators definition means, according to band theory, there is a large gap between the valency band and the conductance band. This is the valency band and conductance band. Okay, if the valency band means the outer shell containing electrons of an atom or molecules. So the outer shell containing electrons and in between the conductance band, the gap is very much large. The distance between the valence band and conductance band is very much large. Then that valence electrons cannot be jump into the conductance band. Then that substances are does not conduct electricity, means the substances acts as a insulators. So according to band theory, insulators can also be defined as the energy gap between the valency band and conductance band is very large. Then the electrons cannot jump from valency band to conductance band. Such type of solids are called as insulators. Insulators examples: rubber, plastic, wood, and all, paper. These all are the examples for insulators. Let's see about the conductors, dear students. Conductors means the solid substances which conductivity range in between the 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7 ohm inverse meter inverse, called as conductors. Okay, so their conductivity range is very high, is about in between the 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7 ohm inverse meter inverse. Those are called as conductors. Okay, and these conductors are means the solid substances which acts as a conductors. Those conductors are divided into two types. Those conductors are divided into two types. One is electrolytic conductors. The second one is electronic conductors. Electronic conductors is also known as metallic conductors. Okay, dear students, let's see. The first one is electrolytic conductors. Conductors are again divided into two types. Electrolytic conductors. Electrolytic conductors means the conductivity of solid substances is mainly due to the movement of ions. Movement of ions means positive and negative ions are moves. The movement of ions is called as electrolytic conductors. So that electrolytic conductors conductivity is in molten state as well as in a aqueous state only, but not in a solid state. Examples: ionic compounds. Examples: ionic compounds. Ionic compounds forms ions, positive and negative ions in aqueous solutions are in molten state, and the mobility of ions from one place to another place, and they conduct electricity. Such type of substances are called as electrolytic conductors. Okay, so for electrolytic conductors, temperature you have to increase, then that ionization or dissociation will be increases and forms more number of ions. So that's why the electrolytic conductors conductivity is directly proportional to temperature. So the conductivity increases with increasing the temperature due to formation of more number of ions. So for electrolytic conductors, conductivity is directly proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, the number of ions formation will be increases and conduct more electricity. Example: molten or aqueous NaCl, potassium chloride, sodium sulfate, means all ionic compounds in molten state or in aqueous state, they act as a good conductors, and such type of compounds are called as electrolytic conductors. Electrolytic conductors. The second one is electronic conductors. Electronic conductors is also called as a metallic conductors. Electronic conductors is also called as a metallic conductors. So these metallic conductors or electronic conductors, conductivity is mainly due to movement of free valence shell electrons. Free valence shell electrons called as metallic conductors. So this definition we can also define based on the band theory. According to band theory, in metallic conductors, the energy gap, that energy gap is also known as forbidden gap. The energy gap is zero. In between the energy gap is zero or very, very less in between the conductance band, valency band and conductance band. Okay, the valency band has completely filled electrons or maybe half filled electrons are present, and the energy gap is in between valency band and conductance band is very, very small or maybe zero. Then the valence electrons can easily jumps from the valency band to conductance band, and they conduct electricity. Such type of substances are called as metallic conductors. Metallic conductors. Now, metallic conductors conductivity in a solid state as well as in a molten state. Metallic conductors conductivity is either they conduct in solid state or in molten state, they conduct electricity, and metallic conductors conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, the conductivity will be decreases because of the resistance increases. Metals means all are in solid state or in molten state. The electrons are moves from one place to another place because of the valency band and conductance band are very close, or gap is zero. Then that valence electrons can move very freely from the valency band to conductance band. Hence, they conduct electricity. Okay. So electronic conductors are metallic conductors. Examples: all metals. Those metals exhibits conductivity either in a solid state as well as in molten state. But metallic conductors conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. Conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. Because the temperature increases, the resistance will be increases and conductivity will be decreases. Examples: all metals. Okay, dear students. Now, based on the electrical properties, substances are divided into three types. One is insulators. Okay, the second one is conductors. Conductors again divided into two types: electrolytic conductors. The second one is electronic conductors. Electrolytic conductors examples: ionic compounds exhibits conductivity in molten and aqueous state, and electrolytic conductors conductivity is directly proportional to temperature. The second one is electronic conductors, is also known as metallic conductors. Examples: all metals. So the metals having free valence electrons, the valence shell electrons are moves from one place to another place very easily because the energy gap between the valency band and conductance band is zero. So the metallic conductors conductivity is due to free movement of valency electrons. So metallic conductors conductivity, they exhibits conductivity either in solid state or in a molten state. And metallic conductors or electronic conductors conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, metallic conductors conductivity will be decreases because of resistance increases. Okay, dear students, let's go for third one is semiconductors. The third one is semiconductors. What is the definition for semiconductors and what are the types of semiconductors are present? Now we'll discuss. Okay, dear students, let's see semiconductors. Semiconductors means these are the solids with conductivity range is in between 10 to the power of -6 to 10 to the power of 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. Means if you observe that the solids whose conductivity is more than the insulators and less than the conductors, less than the conductors. Such type of solid substances are called as semiconductors. Such type of solid substances are called as semiconductors. So the semiconductors conductivity range is in between the 10 to the power of -6 to 10 to the power of 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. So according to band theory, in some solids, the energy gap between the valency band and conductance band is small. The energy gap between the valency band and conductance band is very small. That gap is less than the insulators and more than the conductors. Like a small gap is present in between the valency band and conductance band. Valency band and conductance band. So when the electrons will jump from valency band to conductance band, dear students, at room temperature, the semiconductors acts as a insulators only. While increasing the temperature, the valency band containing electrons can easily jump from valency band to conductance band. Can easily jumps from valency band to conductance band and exhibits conductivity. Such type of solids are called as semiconductors. Semiconductors conductivity increases with increasing temperature or by adding impurities. Such type of substances are called as semiconductors. So according to band theory, in some solids, the energy gap between the valency band and conductance band is small. So the electrons can jump from valency band to conductance band by increasing the temperature or by adding impurities. By addition of impurities is known as doping. Is called as a semiconductor. Semiconductors example silicon and germanium. Okay, dear students. So these semiconductors again divided into two types. One is extrinsic semiconductors. The second one is intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors. What are the intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductors and types of extrinsic semiconductors? Now we need to discuss, and applications of semiconductors also very important. Later we will discuss about magnetic properties. Okay, dear students, let's see. Just you are observe this graph. What I said, dear students, insulators. According to band theory, it is the valency band and it is the conductance band. The valency band and conductance band, the energy gap is very high. That gap is also called as forbidden zone or energy gap is very large. That's why valence electrons cannot jump from valency band to conductance band. Such type of solids are called as insulators. Now if you observe the conductors, examples metals, the metals all acts as a good conductors. Okay, so in metals, the valency band and the conductance band, the energy gap is very less, small. So the energy gap is 0 or forbidden gap is 0. Then the valence electron can easily jumps. The valence electrons can easily jumps from valency band to conductance band, and they exhibits, they act as a good conductors. Okay, either at room temperature. But in these are called as metallic conductors. Metallic conductors, conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. Now come to the point, semiconductors. The semiconductors, the valency band and the conductance band, the gap is very small gap will be present. So due to the presence of small gap, the electrons are not jumps from the valency band to conductance band. So you want to jump the electrons from valency band to conductance band means the two ways are present. One is increasing the temperature. The second one is adding impurities. Adding impurities, then they exhibits a conductivity. Such type of substances are called as a semiconductors. Okay, dear students, again the semiconductors are two types are there. One is intrinsic semiconductors, the second one is extrinsic semiconductors. Okay, let's see, dear students, what are the intrinsic semiconductors and what are the extrinsic semiconductor. Definition and types of extrinsic semiconductors are very important. Intrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors means the substances which are insulators, means the semiconductor, silicon and germanium. Okay, those are called examples for semiconductors. These silicon and germanium acts as insulators at normal temperature or room temperature. Normal temperature or room temperature. So then they want to become a conductor, but they become a good conductors by the increasing temperature. By the increasing temperature, then they act as a good conductors. So those are called as intrinsic semiconductors. So intrinsic semiconductors normally insulators at room temperature. By increasing the temperature, they act as a good conductors. They act as a good conductors. So examples: pure silicon and germanium. So let's see, dear students, pure silicon and germanium at room temperature acts as insulators. Okay, acts as insulators. Then the temperature increases. The temperature increases. The valency band electrons jumps to conductance band. Hence, acts as conductors. Acts as conductors called as intrinsic semiconductors. Called as intrinsic semiconductors. So pure silicon and germanium at room temperature normally they act as insulators. So to increasing their conductivity, just we have to increasing the temperature, then they behaves as a good conductor. Such type of semiconductors are called as intrinsic semiconductor. Already in the definition only I said, intrinsic semiconductors normally insulators. They behave as insulators at room temperature. To increasing their conductivity in the two ways. One is by the increasing the temperature. The second one is by adding impurities. By increasing the temperature, the silicon and germanium acts as a conductors known as intrinsic semiconductors. The second one is extrinsic semiconductors. Let's see, dear students. The extrinsic semiconductors means the silicon and germanium acts as insulators. The substances which are substances means here silicon and germanium. Silicon and germanium acts as insulators at normal conditions, but they becomes a good conductors by adding impurities. The addition of impurities is known as doping. The addition of impurities is known as a doping. Adding impurities called as extrinsic semiconductors. Extrinsic semiconductors. Okay. Now here one important definition you have to remember, dear students, is very important. What is doping? Doping means the process of increasing the conductivity of intrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductor means pure silicon and germanium. So the pure silicon and germanium in pure state, they act as insulators. So we want to increasing their conductivity, we are adding impurities. The addition of impurities to the pure silicon and germanium by increasing their conductivity is known as doping. Is known as a doping. So impurities we want to add. So based on the addition of impurities, types of impurities, the extrinsic semiconductors are again divided into two types. One is N-type semiconductors, the second one is P-type semiconductors. So when N-type semiconductors will get, when P-type semiconductors will get, that is very important. Okay, dear students. Let's see. N-type semiconductors when we will get, dear students. So pure silicon and germanium, let's see how to take silicon and germanium. We are adding impurities. The impurities we are adding 15th group elements or 50A group elements. 50A group elements or 15th group elements. What are those, dear students? Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Just you have to add that 15th group elements. Will get N-type semiconductors. The 15th group elements means they having 5 valence electrons are present. 5 valence electrons. Pentavalent impurities. Pentavalent impurities means 5 valence electrons. That is present in 15th group. Such type of semiconductors are known as N-type semiconductors. So the N-type semiconductors, actually silicon, germanium are 14th or 4th A group elements. They having 4 valence electrons are present, but we are adding 5 valence electrons, means excess of electrons rich will be present. So the n-type semiconductors conductivity is due to electrons, majority of electrons. So the more electrons are present. Okay, and p-type semiconductors means we have to add 13th group elements or 3rd A group elements. 3rd A group elements means 3 valence electrons are present. 3 valence shell electrons are present. What are those? Boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, and thallium. Then we'll get p-type semiconductors. So here 4 valence electrons are present, but the impurity has only 3 valence electrons only. Then little bit holes or gaps will be present. So the p-type semiconductors conductivity is due to holes, because the majority carriers are the holes. Because of less valence electrons containing impurities we are adding, that is 13th group elements we are adding. So that's why p-type semiconductors conductivity is due to holes. Okay, dear students. So the extrinsic semiconductors are 2 types. That is mainly depends on the addition of impurities. The impurities we are adding 15th group elements, those are called as n-type semiconductors. If the impurities, if we are adding 13th group elements, then will get p-type semiconductors. This is about semiconductors. Okay, dear students. Let's see just in the diagrammatic form. These are the silicon and germanium. So the silicon and germanium has 4 electrons are present in its valence shell. Just you are adding phosphorus as impurity, it has the 5th electron. The free electron is present, excess of electrons. Silicon bond is present, and the impurity is phosphorus. It is impurity. The impurity is 15th group element. 15th group. Then excess of electrons are present, free electrons. The conductivity is due to free electrons. Now, if you added silicon or germanium, either this place silicon you have to take or germanium also you have to take, then you are added impurity. This is the impurity. Impurity is 13th group element, like boron, aluminum, gallium, thallium. These are having 3 valence electrons only present. 3 valence electrons. But here the silicon, around the silicon 4 electrons are present. 1 is vacant is present. This is the hole or electron vacancy is present. So the conductivity in p-type semiconductors is due to majority of holes. Here in n-type semiconductors, conductivity is due to majority of free electrons. Majority of free electrons. Okay, dear students, I hope you understood. And now we need to discuss about that. What are the important applications of N and P-type semiconductors? Or semiconductors important applications or uses we need to discuss. Okay, and we know very well, dear students, these semiconductors, N-type and P-type semiconductors are used for the making of electronic components, electronic devices. So the one important electronic device is diodes, for making of diodes. The diodes may be, it is N-type or P-type semiconductors. So the diodes are useful as a rectifiers. Rectifier means it is useful for the conversion of AC current into DC and DC current into AC. That is called as a rectifier. And these silicon and germanium also we are used for the making of solar cells. And NPN and PNP type of transistors, for making of transistors. These semiconductors are very useful. Okay, and many solid state semiconductors are prepared by the combination of 13th and 15th group elements. Except silicon and germanium, you have to combine 13th and 15th group elements in solid state. There also acts as a semiconductors. Indium antimonide, aluminum phosphide, gallium arsenide, these are also acts as a semiconductors, as well as the combination of 12th and 16th group elements. Zinc, 12th means zinc, cadmium, mercury. Zinc and cadmium is combined with 16th group element. Zinc sulfide, cadmium sulfide, and cadmium selenide, and mercury telluride, HGTE, they acts as a semiconductors. And gallium arsenide, GaAs, gallium arsenide is used to design the semiconductors devices. Okay, these are the main important applications of semiconductors. Okay, dear students, let's see about magnetic properties. Magnetic properties are very, very important and very easy also. The magnetic properties. So the solids, some of the solids having magnetic properties. What are the magnetic properties? How the magnetic properties are generated in a solid atoms or in a crystalline solids? The first we'll discuss about that. Reasons for the origin of magnetic moment or magnetic properties. First we'll discuss. So what are the important reasons? The important reason is in an atom, if you observe that the atom having nucleus is present. The nucleus. Around the nucleus, electrons are revolves around the nucleus. This electrons revolves around the nucleus in atomic orbitals. This electron is revolves around the nucleus in atomic orbital. In atomic orbital. So these electrons are revolves around the nucleus in atomic orbital, means orbital is also oriented around the nucleus, as well as that electron revolves around its own axis, that is called as spin movement. The spin, the electron is revolves around its own axis. See, the origin of magnetic moment or magnetism is mainly due to that electrons revolves around the nucleus in its orbital motion. The second one is the orbital. In orbital, electron revolved around its own axis, that is called as spin magnetic moment, spin of electrons. We know that the spin of electrons is two types. One is clockwise direction plus half, and in anti-clockwise direction minus half. Like the spin of electron is either plus half or minus half. So due to this spin magnetic moment or spin motion and orbital motion, it generates some magnetic nature. So that's why in atom, each and every electron is a small particles, they behave as a small magnets. They behave as a small magnet. So the total magnetic moment or magnetic property of any atom is equals to the magnetic property of orbital magnetic moment and spin magnetic moment. The nu is equals to orbital magnetic moment plus spin magnetic moment. But originally the orbital magnetic moment, nu of orbital magnetic moment is very, very less, is very, very small. That's why we have to consider almost zero. Then the spin, the total magnetic moment or magnetic property is mainly due to spin magnetic moment only. Their spin value is either plus or minus half. Then the number of spin electrons, maybe it is present. According to that, the spin magnetic moment in first year only, we know that this formula, the spin magnetic moment or total magnetic moment is equals to root over n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. Okay, Bm is the units, Bohr magnetons, where n is equals to number of unpaired electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like the number of unpaired electrons will be present. The magnetic moment, Bm is the Bohr magnetons, is the units. Its value is 9.27 into 10 to the power of minus 24 ampere meter square. Ampere meter square. So the Bohr magneton value we have to remember. Okay, dear students, based on these magnetic properties, the solid substances having 5 types of, they're divided into 5 types. Magnetic property, based on this magnetic property, solid substances, they're divided into 5 types. What are those 5 types? One is paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic, and anti-ferromagnetic substances. Like they are divided into 5 types. Let's see, dear students, what are the 5 types of magnetic substances. First one is very, very important. First and second are very, very important, dear students. The first one is paramagnetic substance. What are the compounds are called as paramagnetic substance? Paramagnetic substance means the you have to keep the any substance in external magnetic field. If the substance is attract to the external magnetic field, such type of substances are called as paramagnetic substance. Means the paramagnetic substance means the substance which are slightly attracted by the external magnetic field is known as paramagnetic substance. Is known as a paramagnetic substance. This paramagnetic nature is mainly due to the presence of one or more unpaired electrons. but these unpaired electrons alignment or arrangement is not in order. It is present in randomly. It is present due to the presence of random arrangement of unpaired electrons. If the external magnetic field is removed, then the magnetic nature will be disappears. Magnetic nature will be disappears. Okay. Yes, ma, listen, Abhay. So the paramagnetic nature is mainly due to presence of unpaired electrons, and it will be observed in the presence of external magnetic field only. If external magnetic field is removed, then the paramagnetic nature will be disappears. Okay. Why it is disappears means the alignment, the arrangement of unpaired electrons are present randomly in an atom. Okay. And for paramagnetic substances, the magnetic field of the substance B value is more than the external magnetic field. That's why only the substance will attract to the external magnetic field, and magnetic moment mu not equal to 0, and the new values depends on number of unpaired electrons. If number of unpaired electrons increases, then the magnetic moment will be increases. Okay, dear students, let's see. The next one is diamagnetic substance. Diamagnetic substance is completely reverse. Examples for paramagnetic substances, let's see, dear students. Paramagnetic substance is mainly due to presence of unpaired electrons, I said. Examples: O2, oxygen. Already according to MOT theory, molecular orbital theory, O2 has two unpaired electrons present in anti-bonding molecular orbitals, pi anti-bonding molecular orbitals. That's why O2 is paramagnetic nature. And copper +2, one unpaired electron is present. Iron +2, iron +3, sodium, titanium oxide, vanadium dioxide, nitric oxide, NO. These are the examples for paramagnetic substance. If odd number of electrons present in the molecules or unpaired electrons are present in the molecules or ions, they act as a paramagnetic substances. Okay, dear students, let's see that diamagnetic substance. Diamagnetism or diamagnetic substance. What is diamagnetic substance? Diamagnetic substance means the substances which are weakly repulsion. Instead of attractions, repulsions are takes place when placed in the external magnetic field. Such type of substances are called as diamagnetic substance. The repulsions are mainly due to presence of paired electrons. So the unpaired electrons, N is equals to 0, means all are paired. Such type of substances are called as a diamagnetic substance. Let's see. One is a parallel, the second one is a anti-parallel. That like that pairing arrangement is present. So such type of substances are called as diamagnetic substance. When diamagnetic substance, if you are placed in the external magnetic field, it will be repulsed from the external magnetic field. That's why the magnetic field of the substance is very, very less than the external magnetic field, and magnetic moment mu is equals to 0. And diamagnetism is independent on the temperature. Okay, paramagnetism, if you are increasing the temperature, is the temperature dependent. If increasing the temperature, then the paramagnetism will be disappears, will be decreases. But diamagnetism is temperature independent because of completely filled or paired electrons. Examples: H2O, there is no unpaired electrons. NaCl, potassium chloride, zinc oxide, benzene, like